A lot comes to mind when I think of Brazil. Jungles and beaches, football and caipirinhas. Brazil has been at the top of our list of places to go for a while. Our trip immediately went sideways when our plane developed a fuel leak and had to return to DC in the middle of the night. When we finally arrived in São Paulo on Saturday morning, we spent a busy weekend touring and shopping and catching up and of course eating. Some of the highlights included a walk through Beco de Batman, a famous alley covered in street art, and biking through Ibirapuera, one of the largest urban parks in the world. By Monday morning, we were beat. We hopped the flight first thing in the morning to continue our trip in Rio de Janeiro. After dropping our bags at the hotel, we met up with our ebullient guide, Alan, to start touring the city. Alan took us for a quick welcome to Rio photo from the edge of Ipanema Beach before heading up Corcovado to see the Christ the Redeemer statue up close. The platform around the statue was super crowded, but this world wonder was a necessary stop. From the statue, we worked our way down the mountain, stopping for cheese bread in Santa Teresa on our way to the Seleron Stairs. The beautiful stairs have been the life work of a mad artist and have become quite a tourist attraction. Our last two stops of the day were at the beautiful Portuguese Public Library and at the modern cathedral downtown. From the outside, the cathedral looks like an Aztec temple, but the inside is a stained glass marvel, and when the Pope visited Rio, 20,000 people fit inside. Alan dropped us back at the hotel after that, and we all collapsed into bed. On Tuesday, Alan picked us up for more Rio tours. We started with a boat cruise around the bay. Seeing Rio from the water is a great way to get a different perspective on the marvelous city. After the cruise, we hopped a cable car up Sugarloaf Mountain for yet another great view of the city. It's hard to imagine a better view than the one we enjoyed from our lunch atop the mountain. We even got a visit from some local monkeys. After lunch, we made our way back down the mountain and drove across town to take a tour of Maracanã Stadium, a temple of football. We were also able to get tickets for Wednesday night, thanks to Alan. I don't think we would have been able to navigate the ticket windows on our own. After seeing the locker rooms and the press room and heading onto the playing field, we finally headed back to our hotel for the night. Wednesday was our chill day, and we were there for it. We slept in and then spent the morning relaxing on the beach. Unfortunately, thanks to the weekend storm, the waves were still too big to swim. The red flags didn't stop everyone though, so we got to see a beach rescue. After shaking off the sand and grabbing a quick sandwich for dinner, Alan picked us up to head over to Maracanã for the evening's festivities. It was an intimidating mass of people and smoke outside the stadium, and a constant drone of songs and noise inside. The game was absolutely one of the highlights of our trip. There were songs and chants all night. And when Flamengo scored each of their 3 goals, the noise of 89,000 people was deafening. The game started at 9:30 p.m., so by the time we got out of traffic and made it back to the hotel, it was around 1 a.m. Despite the late night, I woke up early on Thursday for a bike ride down the length of Copacabana and Ipanema, a beautiful ride on a protected-ish bike lane. Once everyone woke up, we headed downtown to the Gloria neighborhood to join a food tour. We started by tasting freshly pressed sugarcane juice. With some lime squeezed in, it made for an amazing limeade. Then we sampled all sorts of fruits in the market. My favorite was chewing on the cacao pods. Then we had a delicious lunch of lamb in an old school eatery, followed by caipirinhas to go, and traditional bar stacks in a tiny bar. Our last stop was a restaurant serving traditional Amazon foods, where we had acai bowls and finished the tour with a shot of sugarcane rum laced with an analgesic Amazon plant that made your mouth tingle as you drank. After the tour, we got a little more beach time and finally got a chance to swim in the ocean. We finished our last full day in Rio by watching the sun set over Ipanema from Pedro de Arpadora. We'd been worried about getting around Rio and about crime in the city, and we never really felt unsafe at all. We fell in love with Rio and would absolutely go back. On Friday, we woke up early and headed to the airport to move on to Iguazu Falls. At Iguazu, we met up with our friends again and took a van over to the Argentina side of the river. We hiked a few stunning trails in the hot afternoon sun and even spotted some coatis and a few toucans.
He's obviously an anorexic.
After hiking a few miles, we took the park train back to the van and drove to the Brazilian side. We arrived at the hotel just in time to catch sunset over the falls. Friday nights, the hotel has a special barbecue, so we feasted on meat before taking a dip in the pool and calling it a night. One of the benefits of staying inside the park is you can wake up early, like this, and have the park virtually to yourself. So Saturday morning, we woke the kids early to walk down to the falls. When we were hiking the Argentine side on Friday, I thought that the Brazilian side looked a little boring and couldn't imagine it getting better. Boy, was I wrong. The walk along the Brazilian side was spectacular. There was water everywhere. It's amazing and greatly exceeded our expectations. After the walk, we headed back to the hotel for breakfast and spent the rest of the morning relaxing by the pool. After grabbing a quick lunch, we caught a shuttle over to the Macuco Safari inside the park. The safari includes a tram and a walk through the jungle, followed by a Zodiac ride up through the river to the very base of the falls. Because the water was so high, we couldn't go under the trails like normal, but the ride was still thrilling and a great way to see the falls. And now we've arrived at Sunday, our last day in Brazil. We plan to do the Falls Overlook hike again this morning, and after that, we'll catch a flight back to São Paulo and then on home to Virginia. The food, the scenery, and the people in Brazil have been amazing. We'll absolutely be back. Nika says she wants to live in Rio someday, which will be convenient because Russell wants us to retire there. So I guess it's just ciao until next time, Brazil.